Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome. It is Thursday, April 3rd. You are here for how to land a job in software engineering in 2025, especially in this particular job market. My name is Albert. I'm the founder of Albert's List, and I'll be your host today. We are a job search organization and a career organization that helps individuals like yourself learn job search skills, start side hustles, and learn AI in this ever-evolving job market. In this ever-evolving job market, one of the things that you may be attuned and aware of over the last 3 years is that the tech industry has been under heavy siege with layoffs, artificial intelligence, and high interest rates. One of the jobs that has gone to somewhat of that has been impacted greatly has been software engineering. Once the talk of the town, these jobs have disappeared, both with downward pressure from AI, companies that need to innovate, and venture capitalists who want to invest in technologies and in areas where there is more certainty. So, with that said, can you still find a software engineering job in 2025? The answer is yes, and with a ton of different caveats. So, to answer that question today and to understand the journey of what this job market looks like, I brought in my friend Phong Lam. He's a career coach, and he's also a software engineer in the Web3 space with previous stops at DoorDash, Walmart, and IBM. So, without further ado, Phong, I'm going to hand it over to you. Thank you so much.
Cool. Yeah. Thanks, Albert, and nice seeing everyone here today. Yeah. So today we are gonna talk about the current job market and how it is as of March this year or so. So the software engineering job market is evolving in 2025. What I mean by that is while the current demand for engineers remain high in some sectors. In some other sectors, it can look pretty bleak in some way. What I mean by that also is that companies increasingly looking for candidates who can work in new technologies, be it whether it is AI, Web3, or whatever, or people that are very, very seasoned in certain tools, certain specialized skill sets. So while remote work is still fairly popular among candidates, it is not popular among employers. As you can see, a lot of employers will try to drive people back into the office, and that makes looking for a remote job can be fairly difficult. With that said, I would recommend if you are able to move, be willing and be open to kind of relocation, depending on the companies. For example, if you are applying for, say, somewhere on the East Coast, your chance to get in is going to be massively higher than you are trying to compete in the West Coast arena. Because there are a lot of folks who are graduating or just recently graduated from, say, large schools, such as, in California, there isn't a shortage of large schools. You have Berkeley, Stanford, a lot of the Ivy Leagues are going to be there. So your competition will remain high, especially for folks who graduating from bootcamp who look for career switch. That's what would be my number one recommendation. Open for relocation if you are new, in the field. So yeah, that's what I would say. Remote work again is popular. However, they would be more they cater more for people with experience and people with certain amount of skill sets where the companies will make concessions for those folks to kind of get them to join. So keep that in mind. If you are new, you do not have much of a choice in that. My number one recommendation today would be to be willing to move. In addition to that, companies don't just look for people that can just do raw code. They want people that can solve problems and people that understand things at a higher level. People that can have certain specialized skill set, such as things like security or Web3, people that can navigate uh, large language models, things like that, right? While technical abilities are always going to be the number one thing companies looking for, in addition to that, things like soft skills like communication, teamwork, stuff like that will forever be very, very important. In addition to that, things like you also have to make preparations for interviews. Uh, Things like having strong portfolio, being able to grind out lead code, being able to kind of navigate system design questions, stuff like that will be very, very important to that. That's kind of the entry for that for the session today. Well, next thing is these numbers will look pretty bleak for folks. You can go to the website layoffs.fyi. You will see the number of people are being laid off. This is the numbers only in 2025 alone. If you do the drop down, you check, say 2023, 2024, you can see these numbers will amount up to about 500,000 or so. So with that said, it is difficult, but can you get it? Yes, I still see people getting offers daily. I still see people make it through the interview process. However, the difference is that you have to really stand out in the process to be considered the final offer. You have to kind of, your interviews need to be immaculate. Your resume need to be good. If you don't have a lot of if you don't have a lot of experience, you can get that through multitude of places. You can get that from personal projects. You can get that from anything else. Someone asked, what's the reason behind the layoffs? I won't go much into this because this can be its own kind of session by and of itself. You better ask someone like an economist that will help answer that kind of questions better, right? So this is the current job market as of a few weeks ago. This was the screenshot that from now, right now is probably going to be higher, and that is how the current market to be. Cool. Again, as I mentioned before, what do companies looking for? They're looking for the number one thing always going to be a strong a candidate with strong technical and problem solving. Coding, obviously, always going to be a core requirement. However, if you are going to join companies that are remote first, lots of startups will do that. However, with that said, if it is a remote first company, your soft skills are going to be evaluated fairly heavily because when you are just on the online environment, things like communication, teamwork, leadership points, things like that will amount into a good candidate. People that people need to be able to kind of work well with others, whether or not you see them in person. Uh, in addition to that, if you can navigate the new popular trends, things like AI, data, crypto, cybersecurity, stuff like that will always be good. If you can specialize in it, that's fantastic. How do you get into this kind of stuff? Well, to be completely honest, before I joined this current company, I had no idea what Web3 is. The easiest way to get to know something is to really just get your hand, dirty with that, and just learn through whether or not reading stuff, or just try to make something on your own. Things like OpenAI API or like Gemini APIs. Lots of the time, those the companies will give you free tokens to use. Use those to kind of learn how things work and be able to put that into your resume. Again, the third point is I would say that if anything, that might even be the most important point is that be open for changes. Things like relocations are going to help you tremendously. A little bit about myself. I did a boot camp back in 2016. I know a lot of folks look for positions outside of the West Coast. They went look for things in the Midwest or in the East Coast, and they get their feet into the door that way. Once you have experience, it will help a lot with subsequent job search. But if it is your first job trying to break into the field, this should be your number one priority, is that you should be open for changes. You would have a very hard time to try to get a remote job if you are not able to move. If remote job is something that you have to get, unfortunately, I will tell you that your chance of getting that as your very first job will be very, very, very low. Right? Out of the four popular trends, which one would be better to focus on? It doesn't matter. What matters is specializations. People look for folks that can specialize in something. Being a generalist is not what your career should trend towards. You should never just be a generalist. You should know something very well. Very like you can be a web developer. As if you want that to be the thing, then try to understand deep dive, try to understand things like optimizations, uh, stuff like that will help you tremendously, because as you get more years of experience, that's what a lot of companies are looking for. For example, my current company, we are looking for someone with a very specific skill set in building extensions for the web, and that's what we need to find someone that have experience in releasing things like Chrome extensions and stuff like that. So something that is Chrome extension a popular trend? Not really, but it is a specialized skill that you need to have, right? So yeah, whatever your skill set is, try to hold in to something very specific, be passionate about it, and learn how those things work. Cool. The essential technical skill, this is something that's going to go into your resume. You should have a essential list of technical skills. If you look at some resume of someone with 1 year of experience and someone with say 5 to 10 years or 10 plus years, you will see a huge difference in that the people with 1 2 years experience will list out a ton of stuff, everything that they touch, even one weekend. You look at what Redis is, you're like, cool, I'm gonna put that in my resume. You look at what Postgres is, you say, cool, you're gonna put that into your resume. That is not what you want to do. You want to have things that you understand in a very, very deep, that you can hold a deep conversation with it. If someone asks you, if someone asks you about database, you should be able to kind of talk to them about it. What are the differences between things like, say, Google Big Table, things like Cassandra, why something is more important than the other in certain use cases, stuff like that. You do not want to just make a large laundry list of everything that you have seen for over a weekend and put in your resume. That is not what you should do. If you look at someone with a lot of years of experience, sometimes they just don't even say that. Sometimes they just say that, hey, I work in cyber security, and that's it. And if you talk to them, the difference would be very, very large compared to someone that just lists out every framework that they have touched in their lives, and that's really not what you want to do, right? Try to distill what you want to learn and go deep into it. That's a very, very important thing. Create a list of things that you know and go deep down in some of the things, not all of the things, because it just it doesn't matter at the end of the day. People want you to understand things in depth, not breadth. You don't want to just know, 50 things, because if you list 50 different things on your resume, it is not true. It will be impossible for someone that just know 50 things at depth. So again, this still is to some of the things that you are very, very good at. And that's the most important thing. Is .NET C# still in demand for someone asked a question? Yeah. Some of the older languages are actually, is it in demand? No, not exactly. But if you're very good with some of those things, there will be places that need people that can do that. Even some of the larger companies, for example, like Facebook, a large part of their backend is still run on PHP. So if you know PHP, it's still good for some places. It's not about the language, it's about the technologies. Those are the differences that sometimes you gotta kind of understand the differences between them. Don't be too, like, do I need to learn Ruby? Do I need to learn, Python, stuff like that? Those things will becomes less and less important rather than what are the larger technologies that are needed. Languages are mostly agnostic anyway. After you work enough, you can pick up a new languages. You might not be quick with it at the beginning, but that should never be something that, holding you back. Cool. The next thing, someone mentioned, asked this earlier. I kind of didn't answer because I would talk about it. So something that's important, especially when you are uh, someone new to the field, is that you want to be able to build a strong portfolio because you are going to be compared against someone, sure, 10 years of experience, uh, and you are fresh out of college. However, with that said, someone with 10 years of experience with 10 years will less likely to kind of compete for the same type of jobs that you have. For once, another thing is having a good portfolio will kind of show the employers what you're passionate about, what you're good at, and what your skill sets are. People don't care about the list of stuff that you are going to list. Uh, People care what you can show to them. A lot of folks, I just that a lot of folks that I've seen, they just endlessly read documentations, reading books and stuff like that, but never really try to build something, try to make something. The one thing about tech is that all of this stuff is free to use. You like web, you can pick up React, Angular. You like Java. You can build a Java backend. You can pick up Android, for example. Things that are all these things are free to use. You don't have to just endlessly read textbooks. Lots of people have a fear to kind of start a new project. For example, they're like, oh, maybe I don't do this correctly. Maybe I make some mistakes. But the thing is that nobody knows what mistakes you are going to make in these projects. They care if you have something that is published on the App Store, for example, some working website, something to showcase what you know. And that is some of the most important things that you can have to showcase to the employer. So showcase your GitHub. Not another way to kind of understand this, to kind of get into the flow of how working with a lot of people is, make some contribution to open source projects. There's a lot of large open source projects. Sometimes you don't even have to kind of do something technical. Sometimes you just read a doc, you see some typo, you make a pull request to correct that. Things like that is great because it will kind of ease you into kind of those environments and it get you to kind of be able to contribute to open source and get your portfolio up. Things like personal website, published tech blogs, things like that. will really help you to get your names out because on your resume you really only have one page of information that you send to the employer. However, in your personal website, you can put whatever there. You can put your whole life story there. As long as it looks good, it's presentable. You're looking for like something in like a web front end development. I would highly recommend making your own personal website and showcase things like animation stuff like that on there because again it is something that you want to do to kind of be able to show to uh your employers. uh do you think those without a bachelor's degree has have a chance? One of the person that I've tutored before is currently at Meta as a manager. He only has a high school diploma. That's so for what it's worth. Yes, you can get in for it, but having a degree will help, especially if it's something related. If you were like a say like an electrical, a structural engineer, things like that, it will help. Obviously, that's someone that does not have it. In addition to this, be active on social media platform and just see what are the new technologies out there. Subscribe to some people on Twitter, subscribe things like that. We kind of help you to learn more naturally as you go. And the most important thing is to learn something. You must build something. Again, do not just endlessly sit in kind of like document purgatory and just try to make sure that the first thing you do is perfect because I will tell you it's not. It will never be perfect even at a real company building things, building softwares for millions of people. People make mistakes all the time. But what worse than making mistake is try to never make something at all. Like you have to fail to kind of learn, and that's something that I want to tell. I want to get through is that you need to kind of make something. If you fail, you make mistake, it's okay. The next time you do it, you will learn from your mistake. That's something important. Building a strong portfolio is very, very important, especially for folks that don't have a lot of years of experience. If you have a lot of experience, obviously no one cares. If someone look at some engineer with say 10 years of experience at Microsoft, they don't care if the person has his little website, or they don't care if she has like a very active GitHub profile. It doesn't matter. But if you do not have a lot of experience, you have to find some way to showcase that you can do work in a larger environment. Again, open source project is one of the way to do that because when you put the code in, you're going to get looked at by a lot of people. And software, like open source softwares, I would say a lot of the time are a lot better made than things that are made in-house in some companies because there's just a lot more eyes on those projects. So keep that in mind. If you are a big contributor to open source projects, sometimes you can find opportunities through those projects, or you can just be able to learn how to work and communicate well in an online environment. Because unlike your work, if at work you write some bad code, people might be nice about it. But if you do something bad on open source projects, you will see people will put you on blast. They will just so some of the maintainers of these projects might be very straightforward with you. Just say this stuff is bad. They will just close down your uh, pull request. Happen all the time. I've seen it a lot. So yeah, for what it's worth, open source project is one of the best way to get yourself into the working environment and just be able to see what good code is, especially for someone for you to come out from a boot camp. You might not understand what is like, the concept of like a good software, for example. Looking at open source projects, you will understand. Those are very, very well written most of the time. Cool. Uh, Next thing is which is your resume tips. So almost all resume we go through a thing called the ATS, is application tracking system. I just think of it as a robot that will scan your resume and match that with the job posted. Generally, if you are not a good match with it, like 80, 90%, you're probably going to get rejected. With that said, some of the things that you need to really do is have an ATS friendly resume format. Things like if you put like too many squares, you make your resume like a grid with colors and stuff like that. That looks cool for a person. However, when things like that goes through an ATS, it try to parse this up your nice looking PDF resume out. It's going to look like a total mess, and it might not be able to scan anything. It would be auto reject. So make sure your resume is ATS friendly. What is ATS friendly? You can look at example of how it is. A lot of the time you just have things that are very simple, or just list what your experience, education. It makes things as simple as possible. No fancy stuff, no weird custom fonts. Don't use things like obviously you don't use like weird fonts like Comic Sans, for example, in your resume. Things like that. Make it as vanilla and pedestrian as possible, right? And that's what you need to do. Yeah, and in your resume, you want to highlight your project, your skill, your achievements. If you have things like open source project, obviously post it in there. Say, I'm a huge contributor for this project, for example. And that will really help you to boost it. Also, you want to kind of optimize your resumes for the job posting. I would say generally the first section of your resume should be an about me or like an objective in there. You generally will have 5 sentences where you kind of mirror what the job descriptions are. So if the job is for say like a healthcare company, you can put in there like, hey, I am an engineer that passionate about web development. If they're looking for a web engineer, or if they're looking for like an Android developer, say, hey, I'm an Android developer that has some interest in the healthcare field, and then look a few items from the company's website, and I really, and you can post in like, I really enjoy these initiatives that the company does. Make sure that customize that section to what it shows on the job descriptions, or the companies and things that are to kind of increase the score that you're going to have to kind of get through the ATS. A good resource for ATS friendly example. I don't have it off the top of my mind, but a lot of this you can check. You can even just post your resume to like ChatGPT and ask it, hey, is my resume ATS friendly, right? So you can do something very simple like that. But I would say that the basic rule of thumb is that just don't make it fancy. Don't make like columns. Don't make anything crazy. Just as vanilla as possible. If you want to if you want to showcase what your design skills, that's what your personal website is for, not your resume. Your personal website is used for these kinds of stuff. So keep that in mind. You want to showcase your design, make things colorful. make a personal website and do that there, not your resume, right? Most important thing is just, make your resume basic, professional, and just, yeah, use one of the tools to kind of check if it's ATS friendly, or just, again, you can throw to ChatGPT and ask it, is my resume ATS friendly? If you use some weird fonts, it's probably going to tell you, don't use cursives in your resume, for example, right? Yeah, so like this is some of the basic talking point that you can put in your resume. A lot of people, again, when they list out their experience, their project, they if you're new, you tend to kind of list everything that you do technical wise. You can say like, I this is a React project using Tailwind and using Postgres for the database, stuff like that. You don't want to do that. What I mean is that some of the most important thing to list is the numbers. How many users you have, what is the improvement of certain things you do, how fast is your query, stuff like that. You do not want to just list out stuff, because at the end of the day, no one cares. If you make this with jQuery, you make this with React, you make this, it doesn't matter. What matters is the numbers of people affected by your product, or things like how fast is your query, certain things that you do in your project that improve certain things. Those are what the companies care for. And so those are the talking points that you do want to put in your experience. And again, use a clean single column layouts. Something like this, well, sure. But something just very, very basic on how your resume should look. More basic it is, the better. And at least things as numbers, not just, a laundry list of what you use for that. Again, nobody cares for that in the end of the day. You should make a section with all of your skill set, all of the frameworks that you know, and in your project should list something like, the impact of a certain project. Right? Cool. So that is the thing with your resume preparation. The next part is, well, obviously, once you have a resume, you send in, you might get called back for the interview. How would we prepare for this, right? So generally, for all the tech interview, this is what's going to happen, and generally the first time you're gonna get is the recruiter's gonna call you. Generally in this round, you should pass it. If they call you, they will most likely push you forward, unless you say something that completely wrong in the recruiter round that they don't push you forward. But if it's a recruiter and if you match your skill set, you will move to the next round. The first round of this interview will be a technical round. Sometimes companies will send you an OA, which is an online assessment. Large companies tend to do this. You apply for, say, Amazon, Microsoft as like an entry mid-level. Most of the time, they will send you an online assessment. It's going to be 60 minutes or 90 minutes or something like that. But when you do it, you submit it. If you pass, then a real person will be on your next round of interview. That's the first round. The second round is sometimes you pass the first round, you go straight to the on-site. Sometimes there can be another round in between. They can ask you to build to kind of do a take home, or it can be like a one-on-one technical interview over Zoom, for example. If you pass that, you will go to the on-site. On-site is generally anywhere from 4 to 6 hours long. It's going to be another 1 or 2 coding rounds, one system design round, and then a hiring manager round, which is most of the time it's going to be behavior or what you've done before, stuff like that, right? So how do we prepare for these kind of interview? Well, the most important things, especially if you are new into the field, is that you have to be able to code, obviously. So the way to prepare this is to just practice with lead code, code signal, stuff like that. Some people have a very hard times to kind of learn lead code. I would say try your best to learn this on your own. If you are really stuck, there are other resources that you can do. You can hire a tutor, you can find group work, stuff like that. If you need any of this, Albert can help you. Um, and the most important thing is to do mock interviews. You want to do a lot of mock interviews so that when you actually go into a real interviews, you don't just fail. It's better to fail outside of the interview than go and flop in an actual interview yourself. I would tell you, I've done a lot of tutorings before, and whether or not people spend a lot of time in the tutor, they are very scared to do mock interview for whatever reason. One thing I would say is you do want to fail as much as you can in mock interviews. You don't want to do that in the actual one. So if you need mock interview, again, this group, Albert's group, will be able to schedule it. I would tend to be the one that run this kind of mock interview sessions. So yeah. In addition to that, yep, if you find that you really need help to kind of get off the grounds with a lead code with algorithms, find a tutor, find a study group, stuff like that, right? Uh, and that's something that you want to get good at. If you're new to the field, you have to be able to do these lead code problems because that will be the one thing that weighs the most in your outcome of your interview. You can do kind of subpar on the system design stuff. That is all right. If you're more of a senior level and above, the system design will weigh more than the coding part. But if you knew, again, the coding, the lead code stuff will have to be your most, focus on being able to get through them, right? Uh, someone asked, let me see. Yeah, platform to find study. You can find things on like Meetup. If you from a boot camp, you have other folks that from the boot camps, get them together, study for this lead code problem. That's what I did back in 2016. Just talk to people in there, get together and do this kind of stuff. Do not fail when you get into the actual interview. And yeah, Bram is a good platform for mock interview. I used that before, or you can just schedule, with me, I run the mock interviews for you. With that said, that is the part with the algo stuff. The next thing is system design fundamentals. You more senior levels and above. This stuff will be very important. You can read about blogs, read companies tech posting about certain things that they do. For example, a while back, this school made a post about how they migrate their database to kind of help a lot with the queries, stuff like that are very useful to kind of read to. Last thing is, again, mock interview. You don't want to fail in the actual interviews. Take all the resources you can, do this mock interview. Even if you're going to completely fail in the mock interview, it is okay. At least you know where you need to improve. You don't want to find out when you go to, when you interview with, say, like, I don't know, Google, Salesforce, whatever that may be, and then go in there and fail the interview there because you will not get the feedback. You do mock interviews, you will know where your shortcomings are. Right? Most companies will not give you a feedback for the interview. If you failed it, they will send you one of those basic rejection, like unfortunately we are going to move on with a different candidate, for example, and you will never understand why you didn't do so well. In addition to just the hard skill, I said this before, do not neglect your soft skill and your networking, stuff like that. A lot of people we do very good. Then when they get to the hiring manager rounds, might say something random, something incorrect, you will fail the interview. This does happen. You can do very good in the technical side, and then the manager asks you stuff, and then you fumble, and then they'll be like, that doesn't look like a good candidate. So do not neglect this part of the interview process. Again, Albert's list do have people that run this kind of mock interview, hiring manager mock interviews. By all means, you should also utilize that resources just so that you say the right thing, you say things that are that they're looking for, stuff like that. And some of the things that would really help you is that read about the companies before you go into a hiring manager interview. You don't want to just have no idea what the companies uh, are doing, or what even like that the specific theme that you're gonna interviewing for doing. At least read about the people that who are your interviewers. Look at their LinkedIn, talk about their experience, stuff like that. Be able to carry out a conversation with them about their experience, uh, not just your own experience, because again, interview is a two-way street, and you should be able to kind of drive that part towards the other side, be able to ask questions about their past, what they're doing in the company, something that the companies are doing, things like that. It's not just about yourself, it's about understanding what the position you're going to go in with. Be passionate about it, right? And and again, we talked about this before. When you do your application, make sure to tailor your applications to different jobs. Don't just make one resume and just set out to every single job posting the same one. You do not want to do that. You want to highlight your accomplishment, be prepared for things like difficult questions. And these questions tend to show up in those hiring managers, right? Rounds, things like, tell me about a time that you failed. Tell me how you navigate certain, difficult situation at work. Tell me about the time that you late on the project deliveries. How do you handle that? Things like that. Also, always follow up after your interview, even if it's a thank you letter. Uh, Things like that will show kind of the basic courtesy for you with the recruiter, whether or not you do good or bad in the interview. I would always say follow up with this. It might not affect the outcome of your interview, but I always recommend just do it. And the most important thing is be honest and be truthful about your skills. Oftentimes, some people are either overestimating themselves or underestimating themselves. Some people think they are a lot better than what they actually are, or some people think that they shouldn't apply for certain jobs because they don't think the skill levels are quite there yet. I say I've seen both this. It happen all the times. So kind of oftentimes, sometimes you just have to like recalibrate your own skill set and look for the job that are fitting to your skill sets in particular, right? These are some of the alternatives that you can do to kind of boost your chance. One of the things that I personally do a lot is email outreach. I will find someone in a company that if I want to go to company X, I will look for someone in X company and try to talk to them and get referrals in that way. I would say this, none of the job in my software engineering career have been for me applying from LinkedIn or from the company website. Every single offers that I've had, be it from large companies like Google or be it from like some small startups, None of them have ever been myself applying blindly on a website. That has never happened. I would not do that. I would find someone I can talk and understand about the companies and find my way in that way. That is what works for me. Email outreach. So another thing is certifications. Certifications are useful for some fields and not so much for something else. If you're in cybersecurity, certifications are very, very important. However, if you are in, say, like front end full stack web development, not so much. You can have unlimited certifications. No one cares. So that's why I put an asterisk as a caveat. The last thing is going to hackathon. Sometimes you can find opportunities through hackathon. If you join hackathon, if your projects do really well, the company might actually look into it, and you will get some kind of way in to the companies that way. So those are some of the alternatives that you can do to kind of boost your chances. Personally, for me, hackathons have never worked for me. It does work for some other people. I know I've talked to some people who kind of got a way in through some of the hackathons before, but it has never worked for me. So I stopped going to hackathon because if something doesn't work, I don't want to keep dumping the time to it. But it doesn't mean it will not work for you, because I've seen it has worked for some folks before. Cool. So yeah, this is some of the last and final tips is that, always try to stay up to date with the industry's trends, or whatever trends is right now. AI is very popular, but obviously not every company is building AI in-house. So a lot of the times that they are just calling things like, open AI wrap together. You can easily learn these skills by just, getting some free token, try to build some small apps, see how it works, and be able to kind of, start applying to it. Because if you see some of the jobs they are looking for engineers with, experience in AI, they are not exactly always looking for someone to build this thing from scratch. 90% of the companies are going to, use the AI from like Google, OpenAI, or things like that. They are not building these models in-house. So being up to date with industry trends will help you tremendously to get into this company. Always continuously be learning, be always try to learn something new, and again, be able to understand both your strengths and weaknesses, what you're good at, what you're not good at, what you think that you can improve, stuff like that. So yeah, that's it for today. Next part is a Q&A. Someone have questions or whatever, yeah, or can bring Albert back to it and mediate the rest of it as I'm going through the the list of questions too.
Yeah. Any resources that you can recommend to stay up to date with trends?
Uh, Up to date with trends. Let's just kind of see what the market demands right now. Lots of it is hyper excited for AI, but again, most of the companies aren't building this AI in-house, which means that they are using some of the existing AIs and just call the API to that. You get those free token, build a simple chat app with using like an open AI API, and then see how it actually works. What do you need to kind of format the token so that you don't run out of tokens too fast, stuff like that, and understand how it works. Because obviously, every time you type something, you don't want to just send the entire string, to the server and call ChatGPT. You will run out tokens immediately. Understand how different companies navigate this kind of stuff to kind of be more efficient with the way that they query the data, stuff like that. Yeah, or that would be something that you can do to kind of get yourself more up to date with industry trend. And tomorrow it might change, like a few years ago, crypto was very popular. Now it is AI. It might, rotate to something else again. And that's the thing. You just need to keep yourself up to date with these kind of new emerging technologies, and that would be my recommendation for it.
Do you have any tips for internships? Since we have a few folks asking about that.
Internship. If you from university, you should always do internship through your school. If you're from boot camps, that is a much different story. However, what you can do is you can look for things like apprenticeship. Apprenticeship are generally kind of like internship, but they are open for say people who are doing like career switch, people who are like underrepresented community stuff like that. So I will show you a few things that is it. So LinkedIn has a thing that called LinkedIn Rich. This is one of the uh, apprenticeship program by LinkedIn. One of my very, very early on student went through LinkedIn to this apprenticeship. Another thing, my very first uh, tutor student was one of my best friends from high school. He went to Microsoft through this other program. Oh, no, it's not called Rich, it's called Leap. Yeah. So this is another one from Microsoft that also is an apprenticeship programs. Another one, I know Airbnb has them. I know Pinterest has them. Twilio has them. IBM has them. So there are a lot of these programs around. They are specifically going to look for people that have lower skill level, and the interviews generally will be easier. However, the problem with these apprenticeship programs that they generally only take in, say, like, 40, 50, maybe 100 people. You're going to get about 20, like you're going to get like thousands of applicants. So what that means is that you need to kind of find out when these programs open and apply the moment they are online. Because if you apply too late, they might never even get your resume. For the link for the LinkedIn reach, I think they only look at like something like 3,500 applications, and they only take in like 50 people or something like that. So keep that in mind. You can always look for these opportunities. They are around, but you have to find them. I used to know exactly when these things are up, but I haven't followed them in a while. So yeah.
All right. Do you think companies will start replacing employees with AI, especially in the future as AI gets better, or will companies find ways to keep their current employees? I'm looking in the 5 to 10 year range, and I
Uh,
look at it from a software engineering standpoint.
Good question. I don't know. The question is that I don't know. I use AI a lot on my day-to-day work. It's it's good for some stuff. Sometimes it's just hallucinate and just uh spit out a lot of slop code. That's happened all the time. I would say I would say what realistically will happen is that there will be the same amount of people, but you will pump out at a more exponential rate of output. I mean, this is the same
I'd
thing
like to
as
thank my parents.
hello.
Keep going.
What happened?
I
I
think
heard something.
there. My bad.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah. Let me see. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so the thing is that I think it would be the same. It's just that you are going to get much higher productivity. It's just like when back then when things like well, in much smaller scale when things like AWS was new, or things like when React, Angular was new. That didn't take away the job of web dev. You just transfer into working with, you just working with more streamlined process. You make faster deployment, stuff like that. So yeah, that's what I think. In the in the tech field, yeah, but again, lots of this is speculation. For all we know, next year maybe Skynet will get online and we all will die. So that's a doom and gloom thing. But but yeah, for what it's worth, no one really know. That's yeah. Do I have any alternative like Microsoft Leap? Yeah. I showed before. Microsoft Leap, LinkedIn Rich is another one. This is another one that you can do. Uh, yeah, I should list out all of these so that folks can have. And then Airbnb apprenticeship has another one. It's called Connect. This is one. Another one is Twilio Hash the Owl. Yep. Yeah, that's can I send the link? I mean, you can just Google them. It's like the first thing that will show up. So LinkedIn Rich, Microsoft Leap, Airbnb Connect, Twilio, Pinterest. A lot of companies have them. I mean, I can just sit here and count them out. But yeah, you can do the work to look at it. Yeah. Unpaid internship. I would never do unpaid internship. If I'm gonna do unpaid internship, I would spend my time to learn how to do a contribution to open source software. Any other question, Albert? You think I should answer? Kind of a torrent stuff.
Do you have any tips on where to go and find a hackathon?
Hackathon. Again, you can. I used to have I used to follow these. I haven't followed them for a while. As I mentioned earlier, hackathon never worked out for me, so I stopped kind of following them. Because personally, for me, I didn't find any good output from that. But for some other people that I know someone specifically got an offer through a hackathon. So for what it's worth, yeah.
Do any government clients take internships?
I have no idea.
Yeah. Okay. Someone found a few internships on, okay, on Meetup or a few hackathons on meetups. Um, yeah, if any company you want to work for offers an unpaid internship, is that a good way to get in?
Uh, it depends. If Google offered unpaid internship, yes, but then again, if it's Google, they will never do this in the first place. So my original thing stand. You shouldn't do unpaid internship. If you really aspire to go to some companies, which means that most likely those companies are well known enough for you to feel aspiring to get in them, and those companies will not do unpaid internship. So no, unpaid internship is generally a bad thing. You should never do it.
Gotcha.
Mhm.
All right. And we'll do one final question is, how can I know if a job is really for a junior level person? Most of them say they are junior, but will pick the most senior applicant.
Yeah, this is common. This happened back in 2016 too, and it's even more so now. Again, the way you need to do this is to stand out, connect with the people from those companies. makes your resume really stand out, do like a lot of open source contribution, you have to find ways to stand out. There will never be a job that will say that we only look for junior level engineer people with 0 years of experience and we will train them. That will never happen. That's only happened through these apprentice programs because this apprentice program will specifically say that they will say on this is an on the job training for candidate. Only these programs will look for people that are truly junior with 0 years of experience. Everything else with some form of experience, you have to be able to stand out. You gather the experience through things like hackathons, things like contribution to open source. And I say this many times, open source is the easiest way to get these things in and to get your skill level up. That would be the way. Yeah.
Awesome. Wonderful. So I think I'm going to conclude all our questions for now. Fong, any final thoughts before I close up shop? I shared your LinkedIn with the audience, and I'm inviting them all to reach out to you and get to know you a little bit more.
Yeah, that's it for me. Again, if you have questions about your skill levels in like this interview, by all means, make sure you do mock interviews. It's offered with free of charge, and you should really utilize these things. Don't wait until you actually get an interview and you fail, especially if you are very new to the field. You cannot fail too many times. You already have a hard time to get in the interview. You need to pass them to do as many uh, mock interviews as you can before these things happen.
All right, wonderful. Well, thank you, everybody. This webinar was recorded, so we'll be following up with a recording. I invite you to connect with Fong if you're looking for coaching, or if there's enough demand. We can always do an Albert's List group coaching program as well, which may happen some point in the future. If you would like to do a mock interview, please reach out. I'll be following up on Eventbrite, so just reply to that email and we'll find a time where we can do a mock interview with you. Until next time, thank you all for watching and joining and asking questions and being so engaging. We look forward to seeing you soon. Bye.
Thank you, everyone.